Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om 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 Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
October 25th, 2024, in Kaunas, Lithuania. And we're reading from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 2, Text 21.
Mums reikėtų 22 today.
I'm doing 21. I was told 21 and I'm going to do 21. 22 is also very nice. Let's look at 22. But I've already prepared for 21. Can you get 21 on your phone?
Yes.
So this verse is very beautiful poetry.
Should we ask how many needs English translation actually?
How many of you know English?
But maybe somebody is watching online.
Online we have,
Yes.
and I'm recording.
Mm-hmm.
People will listen on ISKCON Desire Tree in 5 years.
That.
And you don't know English? No English?
Yes, I know.
Okay, well, who knows English? Raise your hand if you know English.
Jūs žinot angliškai?
So everybody, so we don't need any translation. Just no translation. We'll
Bet
just do
online
it.
nežiūri niekas.
Nu tai gal...
Vienas Lietuvoj dauguma.
Oh well,
Kajanė nemoka, daug kas nemoka.
it's so much easier without translation.
Jo, gal translate.
So we just won't do translation. That's okay. If there's some word you don't understand, you need to ask me. You say something. Don't just be confused. Don't just be, what? Okay? Okay? And if I'm speaking too fast, say something. Is that a deal?
Deal.
Everybody can agree? Yes? Because I'm from New York City where people talk very fast.
That.
Okay? So sometimes I forget and I get too fast. So is this a deal?
Yes.
Okay. Any word you don't understand, you stop. What is that? Or you think it's the wrong word, or it doesn't make sense to you. And can you move up a little bit? Maybe like half a meter. That's all right. Leave the camera there, but everyone move up. Like I have no weapons here. You can just move up. Otherwise people cannot come. Okay, so if any of you can pull up this verse on your phone, 1:2:21.
22.
And
Second.
they told me 21, so I prepared 21, so I'm doing 21. How are you doing?
Jei kaip pasakė, nepasirašė.
Oh well. Life will go, everybody will live. I don't know if they'll live on the stairs, but they'll live with the verse. So it's okay. I'd like you to look at the poetry of this verse. So you see we have Vidyate, Chidyante, Shiyante. Everybody sees that at the beginning of each line. And Vidyate means pierced. You all know what pierced means? Like you stick with a needle?
Perkirsti.
Dirt.
Then Chidyante means to cut up. Yes? So when the demons were torturing Prahlad, they're saying Chindi, Chindi. Cut him, cut him, cut him. And then you have Shiyante. Shiyante means to destroy, to finish. So we have piercing, cutting, finishing. And then look at what is being pierced. So Vidyante Hridaya Grantis. What is Hridaya? Heart. Granti is a knot.
Right.
So it's piercing the knot in the heart. And then Chidyante, Chidyante, Sarva means what? All, everything. Samshayaha. Samshayaha means our doubts, confusion, difficulty. Cutting the doubts Then Kshiyante, destroying. Karmani means?
Chain of fruitive action.
Well, you're just reading the translation. I'm asking you, what does karma mean?
Karma.
What is karma?
Material
Activity.
activity.
Material activity that has a reaction.
Yeah.
Yes? There's karma, vikarma, akarma. Karma means it has a reaction. Vikarma also has a reaction. Then drista. What does drista mean? To see. What do we want to drista? Ekatma ishvare. What is atma? Soul. It can also sometimes mean Krishna. So the self. Yeah, Eva definitely. And then Ishvara is? Ishvara is? The Lord
Controller.
or the controller. Yes. So you pierce the knot in the heart. You cut all the doubts. You finish the karma. And you see that you see yourself and you see God. You see yourself, you see God. Or you see that the self is actually the master. Or you see the self in relationship to the master. Then all these things are finished. So this is very, very beautiful poetry. Yes? So we can, in translation, we lose some of the poetry. Are you all understanding my English?
Yes.
How is it working
Yes.
with the
Yes.
English?
Very good.
Good? Just like this or good?
Very clear.
Excellent.
Okay. Vidyate hridaya grantis
Vidyate hridaya grantis.
Chidyante sarva samshayaha
Chidyante sarva samshayaha.
Chiyante chastya karmani
Chiyante chastya karmani.
Drista evatmanishvare
Drista evatmanishvare.
Vidyanti
Vidyante.
Pierced
Pierced.
Hridaya
Hridaya.
Heart
Heart.
Grantihi
Grantihi.
Knots
Knots.
Chidyante
Chidyante.
Cut to pieces
Cut to pieces.
Sarva
Sarva.
All
All.
Samshayaha
Samshayaha.
Misgivings
Misgivings.
That also means doubts Chiyante
Chiyante.
Terminated
Terminated.
That means finished Cha
Cha.
And Asya
Asya.
Is
Is.
Karmani
Karmani.
Chain of fruitive actions
Chain of fruitive actions.
Driste
Driste.
Having seen
Having seen.
Eva
Eva.
Certainly
Certainly.
Atmani
Atmani.
Unto the self
Unto the self.
Ishvare
Ishvare.
Dominating
Dominating.
The Prabhupada's translation. Thus, the knot in the heart is pierced, and all misgivings are cut to pieces. The chain of fruitive actions is terminated when one sees the self as master. Srila Prabhupada's purport. Attaining scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead means seeing one's own self simultaneously. So in other words, when you see Krishna, you see yourself. If you see your real self, you see Krishna. As far as the identity of the living being as spirit self is concerned, there are a number of speculations and misgivings. The materialist does not believe in the existence of the spirit self, and empiric philosophers believe in the impersonal feature of the whole spirit without individuality of the living beings. But the transcendentalists affirm that the soul and the supersoul are two different identities, qualitatively one, but quantitatively different. There are many other theories, but all these different speculations are at once cleared off as soon as Sri Krishna is realized in truth by the process of bhakti yoga. Sri Krishna is like the sun, and the materialistic speculations about the absolute truth are like the darkest midnight. As soon as the Krishna sun is arisen within one's heart, the darkness of materialistic speculations about the absolute truth and the living beings is at once cleared off. In the presence of the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truths that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance become clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna, who is residing in everyone's heart as the Supersoul. So this is very important. Prabhupada says those in bhava do not fall down because they see the naked form of material desires. Not only does one see Krishna, one also sees Maya. So here Prabhupada is saying that in the sun, the darkness cannot stand, and the relative truths, so this is Maya, that were hidden within the dense darkness of ignorance, so illusion that we could not see because it was dark, become clearly manifested by the mercy of Krishna. Does everyone understand this? You see Krishna, and then this sun of Krishna, it lights up the illusion that was hiding in the darkness. In the Bhagavad Gita 10:11, what is that verse? What is Bhagavad Gita 10:11? This is one of the 4 key verses of the Bhagavad Gita. It's the last of the 4 key verses. If you only memorize a few verses, you should memorize these.
It's about absolute truth.
Absolute truth is in 10:8.
Okay.
So Krishna is saying he's the absolute truth is in 10:8. In 10:9, he's talking about what happens when we talk about the absolute truth. And in 10:10 and 10:11, he says, what does he do? So 10:11 is Tesham evanukam partam aham agyana jam tamaha nasaya matbhavavosto jnana deepena bhashvata. What's jnana?
Knowledge.
Deepa.
Light.
A light.
Right.
Krishna turns on the light of knowledge. Where? In the heart. In Bhagavad Gita 10:11, the Lord says that in order to show special favor to his pure devotees, he personally eradicates, you know what is eradicate? Get rid of,
Diminishes.
finish. The dense darkness. Prabhupada used this twice now in this purport. Dense darkness. Not just darkness, but dense. You understand? Everybody? Dense? Very thick?
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever been in a cave or a mine?
Yes.
Completely dark. You can't even, nothing. Dense darkness. He personally eradicates the dense darkness of all misgivings. Misgivings means doubts. By switching on the light. Prabhupada is using modern electrical terms. Instead of lighting the lamp, switching on the light. Of pure knowledge within the heart of a devotee. Therefore, because of the personality of Godhead taking charge of illuminating the heart of his devotee, especially a devotee engaged in his service and transcendental love, cannot remain in darkness. He comes to know everything of the absolute and the relative truths. The devotee cannot remain in darkness, and because, I said it twice, that the devotee cannot remain in darkness. And because a devotee is enlightened by the personality of Godhead, his knowledge is certainly perfect. Does that mean a devotee has perfect knowledge about everything like God? No. Did Prabhupada know Lithuanian?
No.
No. I had one devotee arguing with me that Prabhupada knew Spanish, and I'm like, no, he didn't. So, when Prabhupada says that his knowledge is perfect, that doesn't mean he knows, Lithuanian. It doesn't mean he knows how to fix a carburetor in a car. It doesn't mean that he is omniscient. You follow?
Yes.
That's important. That's actually very important. Just like in the 4th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Arjuna asked Krishna, how did you teach the sun god? We're the same age. How did you do this millions of years ago? And Krishna says, no, I did this in another incarnation, not in this incarnation. And you were there with me, Arjuna. But I remember that and you don't. And Prabhupada says in the purport that Krishna remembers everything, but even the liberated pure devotee like Arjuna does not. Even we have like Narada, who's Sri Kalaja. He knows a lot, Narada, but he doesn't know everything that Krishna knows. Like he comes to see Krishna in his palaces, and he's completely astonished. How is Krishna doing something different in each palace? Or we have Yamaraj. He also knows a lot, but he doesn't know everything. Like he sent the Yamadutas to go grab a Jamila. So he also doesn't know everything like God. When Prabhupada bought the property in Mumbai from Mr. Nair, who was a cheater, and Prabhupada said, Krishna didn't tell me he was a cheater, because then I wouldn't have bought the property. And then there was a big battle for so many years. So it's not that when Prabhupada says they have perfect knowledge, it doesn't mean they know what you ate yesterday. Not like that. So sometimes people think like that. This is not the case for those who speculate on the absolute truth by dint of their own limited power of approach. Perfect knowledge is called parampara, or deductive knowledge coming down from the authority to the submissive oral receiver who is bona fide by service and surrender. This is also very important. We cannot just invent some philosophy on our own. If we're out of touch with parampara and think, I know better than the parampara. I know better than all the previous gurus, and I don't even have a guru, but I'm going to tell you what is the real story of the Shastra. There are people who do this, and there are people who do this even in our Hare Krishna movement. They have no guru. They don't respect the previous gurus. They come up with their own wild, speculative interpretation. That will not work. One cannot challenge the authority of the Supreme and know him also at the same time. This is also very key. So I taught children for many, many years, and sometimes the children come with a question that is actually a challenge. And then I'll say, do you want to know or do you want to argue? It's not possible to know God if you are also saying, challenging him. What are you doing? I don't think you know what you're doing. He's like, he reserves the right of not being exposed to such a challenging spirit of an insignificant spark of the whole, a spark subjected to the control of illusory energy. So you can get some idea of how Krishna is feeling. He's the supreme, he's everything, he's everywhere. He's the supreme friend, he knows everything. And some little teeny tiny spark of himself, who is under illusion, is going, why are you doing this? That's not fair. You should do this. You should do that. Show me this. Come here right now. Explain it to me. And he's like, no. The devotees are submissive, and therefore the transcendental knowledge descends from the personality of Godhead to Brahma, and from Brahma to his sons and disciples in succession. This process is helped by the Supersoul within such devotees. That is the perfect way of learning transcendental knowledge. This enlightenment perfectly enables the devotee to distinguish spirit from matter, because the knot of spirit and matter is untied by the Lord. Have you ever tried to untie it by yourself? This knot is called ahankara. Kara means hand. Ahankara means I am the doer. Question?
Ego.
But false ego.
Yes, false.
I am the doer. And it falsely obliges a living being to become identified with matter. This is also a very profound statement. If I want to think that I am the doer, is that the person in charge?
Yes.
Yes, good. If I want to think that I am the doer, and I am the controller, and I am the master, I cannot think like that if I see the Lord. Impossible. Are you going to join us? Please move up like half a meter, please. Are you joining us? Please, can we move up like half a meter? I don't have any weapons. It's unsafe. It's fine. So when we think like that, I want to be the master, I want to be the controller, we cannot think like this when we are seeing Krishna. It is not possible. It is clear to everybody. Yes. So in order to think like this, I have to stop seeing him. And then I have to identify with illusion. So that is Krishna's kindness, that if we want something that is false, then he gives us this illusion. As soon as this knot is loosened, therefore, now this is not even untied, just loosened. As soon as this knot is loosened, therefore, all the clouds of doubt are at once cleared off. One sees his master and fully engages himself in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, making a full termination of the chain of fruitive action. In material existence, a living being creates his own chain of fruitive work. That's very sad. We're creating our own chain. You understand? We're creating our own chain. You need translation?
I don't understand what is chain.
Chain.
Grandinha.
Okay. And enjoys the good and bad effects of those actions life after life. But as soon as he engages himself in the loving service of the Lord, he at once becomes free from the chain. What is a chain? Of karma. His actions no longer create any reactions. So this was the question Maharaj asked yesterday. He says, if I give in charity, will it create reactions? If you're doing for your own ego, yes. If you're doing to please Krishna, no. Clear? Yes? Okay, let's go back to this beautiful poetry. This purport is so rich. You understand what I mean? That we could talk about this purport for years and years and years and years and years. So many of the sentences here are just so full of meaning. And we only have like 15 minutes. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarvasamshaya shiyante chaspakarmani justa evatmanishvare. Okay, without looking, what is vidyate? Anybody remember? Vidyate.
Pierced.
Piercing. Hridaya grantis. What is that without
Knot
looking?
in the heart.
The knot in the heart. Piercing the knot in the heart. Chidyante. What is that? Cutting. Cutting. Sarva samshaya. What does that mean?
About?
Yes, all of the doubts. Excellent. Shiyante. What does that mean? Finished. Chasya karmani. All the fruitive actions. The chain. What is the chain again? Lithuanian?
Grandinha.
Oh. Drista is to
See.
see. What do we sing?
So.
We are singing Evat Atmishware. What is Atma? The self. Ishwara?
The supreme control.
The supreme controller. So this chapter describes the process of advancement in Krishna consciousness. Up to about Nishta or Ruchi. Now, you cannot match perfectly if you're going to take Srila Rupa Goswami's description of Adhushraddha, Sadhusanga, and you try to match it perfectly with this chapter, it will almost match. It doesn't exactly match. But it's very similar description. It's going step by step. And this verse is very much a description of Nishta, but the previous verse talked about if our things are partially destroyed, our attachments are partially destroyed, and Nishta is really partial. Prabhupada will define Nishta as 50% destroyed, sometimes 75% destroyed. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, if you look at Madhurya Kanambani, it looks like 40% destroyed. Nasta prayeshu abhadreshu. Nasta prayeshu, it's partially destroyed. Whereas here, it sounds totally destroyed. So it's like if you take Nishta and you keep going. So this must be closer to Bhava. But we're also talking about having a taste for the Lord. Now, please understand that this process is not just like you're completely in Maya and then one day you're completely not in Maya. It's usually for most of us, it is gradual and proportional, Prabhupada says. Are we all okay with the English still?
Yes.
Everybody's still good with English? Yes. So that means that, like, are you okay with English? Or are you lost? So like Haridas Thakur talks about the sun rising in the morning. So right now, you're going to get out of daylight savings time very soon, yes? But right now, your sun is rising. The sun is rising here at 8 o'clock in the morning. So when the sun is rising, Haridas Thakur says, before the sun rises, it's not over here's the horizon, here's the sun. It starts to get light. You cannot see colors. So you remember from science, in the retina, we have cones and rods. Right? And some of them only see black and white, some of them, I think the cones see black and white and the rods see color, I think so. But the color ones, they need more light. And the black and white ones, they need a little light. So first, when the sun is not even risen, you can see just silhouettes. You understand what is a silhouette?
Yes.
Just black and white. And then when it rises, you start to be able to see a little bit of color. And then it rises and you can see everything. So even when the Krishna sun starts to rise in our heart, we start to see things more clearly. And what do we see clearly? We see our false ego, what it actually is. We see our doubts, our questions, our difficulties, our struggles. And we see how we are building our own chain. What is chain again? I am making my own chain. I am locking myself up. This is crazy. Why would I lock myself up? So we start to see that, and we also see the son of Krishna. And that means we also see ourselves. So what is this ahankara? It is a knot. And it is a very tight knot. You know, when Alexander the Great wanted to conquer the world, he was told that whoever unties the Gordian knot can be the conqueror of the world, and nobody could untie it. And he took his sword and he just cut it, and then he conquered. Sometimes this ahankara in the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita is compared to a banyan tree. Very complicated tree. Who has seen a banyan tree? So you have at least seen a picture. They're very complicated. From all of the branches come more roots. And you cannot tell, if it's an old tree, you cannot tell where is the beginning. And to cut down a banyan tree, very difficult. Very, very difficult. I was in one temple where they were growing a banyan tree in a pot. I said, that is not very nice for the tree. Like this. So it's very difficult. And what is this not? I am the Lord. Ishwar Ham Aham Bhogi Siddham. I am the controller. I am the Lord. I am the most intelligent. I am the most capable. I am the center. I am the most important. When this gets very gross, we become a criminal. Oh, your money belongs to me. I can steal it. Your body belongs to me. I can rape it. Your time belongs to me. I can just take it. Your energy belongs to me. I can take it. This animal belongs to me. I can eat it. Everything is mine. And no one else's desires are important. No one else's feelings are important. I was explaining to one devotee what is abuse. I said abuse is when you want to destroy someone else's identity. You want to own them. You know, big demoniac dictators, they do this. They just want to control all their citizens and use the citizens like part of their own body to do whatever they want. So, my dear friends, we may think, oh, I am not like this. But we are. We are like this. I used to manage the serving prasadam at Janmashtami, and I had the servers make their own plate first. I said, first make your plate, put it to the side. Because if they didn't do that, they would not serve the nice preps very well. They'd be thinking, how much paneer is left in the subject? I want to make sure I have something for myself. We don't see this in our heart. We're thinking, I'm a very nice person. I am kind, I am considerate, I am loving, I am thoughtful, I am moral. We think like that, but my dear friends, we are not. Therefore the Acharyas say, I am the most sinful of all sinners. And we are very afraid to see this ahankara. We are very scared. If I see this ahankara, then I will hate myself. But that is not true, because we only see the ahankara when the Krishna sun starts to rise, and we also see our real self. And our real self, my dear friends, is wonderful. Mama Vamso Jiva Loke Jiva Bhuta Sanatana. We are part of Krishna. As part of Krishna, we have the qualities of Krishna. In very small amount, but we are very small, so that's okay. Srila Rupa Goswami says the first 50 qualities of Krishna are also the qualities of the Atma. So we are all beautiful. We are all geniuses. We actually are controllers. We are bright and illuminating. So when we see these two things side by side, oh, I am wonderful, I am a soul. And look at what I am doing. I am holding on tightly to thinking that I am a separate controller. As soon as we think I am a separate controller, we are holding on to evil. And we will see this clearly. What I am holding on to is evil. It is selfish. It is harmful. It is just nasty. And I am actually wonderful. Why is such a wonderful being, such as myself, voluntarily holding on to evil? And then I will see my doubts. What are my doubts? Many years ago, I was sitting in Govinda's restaurant in Delhi, taking prasadam with a devotee, and the devotee was quoting Srila Prabhupada, who was quoting Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, saying that Krishna is the transcendental autocrat. You have heard this, where Prabhupada says Krishna is the transcendental autocrat? He only says it one time. It's on a recording he made early in the movement that was on a record album. Do you know what a record album is?
Yes.
Krishna is the transcendental autocrat.
What means autocrat?
Aha, very good. Thank you. What is autocrat?
Autocrat?
Yes.
The ruler.
Autokratos. Same feeling.
Say.
Feeling.
Yes.
Clear? No. Russian? What is it in Russian?
O ką reiškia autokratas?
Autokratas, tas, kuris valdo valstybę ne demokratiniu būdu, o savo autoriteto. Kad aš, kaip karalius panašiai.
Like a dictator.
Yes.
Diktatorius.
So when I heard this devotee say Krishna is the transcendental autocrat, I felt in my heart going, no! I don't want an autocrat. I want democracy. I could feel in my heart, I was screaming this. I didn't say anything. And I thought, oh, Urmila, this is why you are not a pure devotee. You don't want Krishna to be, you don't want Krishna to be in charge. It really surprised me. I thought, this is why I've not surrendered. I think, oh, Krishna is a dictator. So we have these doubts. Is Krishna a dictator? Does Krishna really care about me? I hear devotees say, I don't want to surrender. Then Krishna will ruin my life. This is perfect. Thank you for bringing your daughter. We think, oh, I have heard in the Shastra that if Krishna really loves you, he will take everything away. So I'm thinking, I don't want to surrender to Krishna. Then I will become crippled. I will be homeless. I will be eating out of the garbage on the street. I'll be in pain. All my friends and family will leave me. Nobody will give me any prasadam anymore. I will lose my intelligence. All my teeth will come out. Because Krishna really will love me. So we have this doubt. Krishna, I surrender to you. No, don't do that. Then he will hurt me. We may have philosophical doubts. Just like one devotee said to me, how can there be so many living entities? There are so many living entities. Every plant, every insect, every microbe, every germ is a jiva. And all of these jivas, this is just one planet. And there's so many planets and so many universes. There's so many jivas and everybody is rebelling against Krishna. That's a lot of rebellious jivas. This one devotee was saying, how can there be so many? Or we may have some doubt. We may have many doubts. Like I read in the 4th canto of the Bhagavatam, this is my doubt. So Prabhupada says you can train the pigeons. You know what is a pigeon? Anyone knows what is a pigeon? Balan? Balandis. He says you can train the pigeons to take you into outer space. And so I grew up in New York City. There are so many pigeons. And they can hardly fly at all. I mean, they can fly to a building, but they can't fly across the ocean. How are they going to take me to Jupiter? And so I read this and I'm like, Prabhupada, are you sure that this is right? I have some doubt. How do you do this? So we have so many doubts. But our main doubt is, does Krishna love me? Will I be safe? If I surrender to Krishna, will I be safe? Will I still be a person? Will I still have my desires? Will I still have my opinions? Will I still have my life? Or will he take that away? We're much more afraid of losing that than losing our money. And Prabhupada talks about these doubts in his purport, that we think maybe I don't have any real identity. So these are our doubts. And when the sun of Krishna rises, then we see that these doubts are foolish. The spiritually liberated persons, they all have their personality, they all have their desires, they all have their opinions. Sometimes they argue with Krishna. Sometimes in their Leela, they tell Krishna no. Like Prabhupada says that if Krishna wants to see Radharani and Lalita says no, then he cannot go. So we see that there's this interaction between persons. And therefore our doubts, they're cut to pieces. They have nothing left. And we see that all of these doubts are simply foolish. It's just like the sun rises and it burns away the fog. And then this chain of karma, that we are making our own chain. I am doing actions thinking they will make me happy, and they are binding me to the reactions. Then I have to suffer the reaction. You know, I park in an illegal place, I have to pay the fine. And we have this complicated chain of reactions for millions and millions and millions of those. And we cannot conquer it by good actions. You cannot say, well, now I'm going to be a good person. First of all, you may make a mistake, like King Riga, he made a mistake, and he gave the same cow 2 times. And we don't always know what is good and what is bad. At different times in history, people think different things are good and different things are bad. Correct? Prabhupada says when he was a little boy, one of his sisters was 12 years old and not yet married. And his mother was crying. She said, my daughter is 12, she is not married. I will die. I am not a good mother that I have not given my daughter a husband at 12 years old. And Prabhupada was a little boy in the 1800s. And now, if you marry your daughter at 12, you are a criminal. So what is good at one time is not good at another time. So if we're thinking, I am going to be a good person, I am going to do what is good, but we don't know what is good. According to culture, according to time, this is constantly shifting. And also we have our ahankara. So we don't recognize that we are selfish and we're thinking I'm doing something good and we don't know our own motives. So we will never cut this karma like this. That will not work. One gentleman told me, oh, I don't need to become a devotee. I have my own religion. I said, what is your religion? He said, I am a good person. I said, this will not, it will not work. So, but we can actually cut this chain, destroy, terminate. It's terminate. You come to an end. Like we go to an airline terminal. That means the end, where the plane lands, where the train stops. If someone has a terminal disease, it means it will kill them. We are going to terminate this. The chain, we come to the end of the chain, the last link. Finished. Right? There's a nice verse in the Brahma Samhita, Yasmin Vigopa Matavendra Mahosva Karma, Bandhan Rupa Palabhajanamatanoti, Karmadi Nirdahati Kintu Chibakti Rajam. For the devotees, Karmadi Nirdahati Kintu, finished. So how is this finished? Well, we start with doing a karma. We work for Krishna instead of for myself. That does not create more in the chain. But what about the old things on the chain? So Krishna will say, you don't need this anymore. You don't need this anymore because you already understand. Like maybe before coming to Krishna consciousness, we were eating meat. And for those animals that we were eating, we will have to take birth and be killed. Why? So we can develop empathy. But if we already have, you understand what is empathy?
Yes.
If we already have empathy for the animals, why do we have to experience that? So maybe before when I was a child, I was eating cows, I was eating so many things, and I would have to take birth as a cow and be killed. So I can develop empathy. Oh, this is what it feels like. But now in serving Krishna, I already have empathy. I don't need to have the experience. Clear?
Mm-hmm.
Yes? Just like sometimes in a school, the child says, I already know this. And so we give them an exam, and if they pass the exam, they don't have to take the course. Say, okay, you already know this. You don't have to go. So all of these things are done by the Lord's grace. To pierce the ahankara in the heart, to cut the doubts, and to finish the chain. End. This is all done by mercy. The sun rises by mercy, by its own power. But Krishna will only give this mercy if we want it. He's not going to force. Forcing is demoniac. Krishna does not force. He's not going to force. Therefore, Prabhupada says we have to be submissive. We have to be surrendered. We cannot demand. We cannot say, show me. What we can say is, my dear Lord, please rise this sun in my heart. Please show me. And I will listen. I will listen. We all have experience that people ask us for help, and when we give help, they argue. Everyone has this experience? I had one friend who said to me many years ago, Urmila, please tell me what is my biggest material attachment? And I said, no, you don't have any material attachment. And she kept pushing me and pushing me and pushing me. And because I am a big fool, I told her. I said, actually, it's not such a big attachment. It's a small attachment. It's not very important. It's just a little thing. But you do have this problem. Hare Krishna. Then for 3 weeks, she's calling me on the phone and sending me emails and sending me SMS. How dare you say I have this problem? And I'm thinking, my dear lady, anyone who knows you for 10 minutes can see you have this problem. So we cannot behave like this with Krishna, because after that now I tell her nothing. You understand? From that day, I don't tell her anything. Just, Hare Krishna, nice to see you. That's all. So if we say, Krishna, please show me the naked form of my material desires. Show me my ahankara. Let me see how nasty it is. Show me the real form of my doubts and cut this karma, and I will listen. Take away my fear. Give me courage. I will listen and I will follow. Then Krishna will show us everything. And then you will see everything perfectly. And then Krishna consciousness becomes very, very easy. Prabhupada says until we do this, Our spiritual life is a hard struggle with determination. Before we come to Nishta, it is a hard struggle with determination. It is a discipline. So you get snow here, yes?
Yes.
Yes. So you go sledding?
Yes.
You know what is sledding? You would translate somebody for me? What is sledding?
Slidinėti.
Okay. So you have to take your sled up the hill, yes?
Yeah.
You're pulling your sled up the hill and then you go down. When I was 16, I went with a youth group on a bicycle trip in the mountains, the Rocky Mountains in the west part of America. And so we were going for many days up and up and up and up and up and up on a bicycle. And they gave us bicycles. We took a train to the mountains and they gave us 3-speed bicycles. I had at my home a 10-speed bicycle, but they gave us all the same 3-speed. So it was hard work. And sometimes you had to get off the bicycle and walk with it. And then last 2-3 days of the trip, this was in Canada, in Jasper Banff National Park. Very, very, very beautiful place. Anyway, last 2-3 days we were going down. You still had to work a little bit. You had to steer. And you didn't want to go down too fast. So you had to hold the brake a little bit. But woo! We were just going down, down, down. It was very easy. Is everybody understanding?
Yeah.
So Prabhupada says, until Nishta, it is a hard struggle with determination. You are up, 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 up. And sometimes there's a little rest, you know. Sometimes there's a big festival and you're like, Hare Krishna. And there's Gulab Jamun. Okay, back to work. But when you get here, then Prabhupada says everything becomes very easy. There's still some work until we are at prema, some. But it is not hard work. So how to get there? We have to want it. We have to be submissive. We have to want to be honest. And this is the break that stops almost everybody in almost every religion in the world.
You don't understand this.
Yes, what do you not understand?
He does not any.
Well, I am now finished. So now we are now finished. It is 9:15. Does anyone have any questions? See, I'm learning a little bit, right?
Hare Krishna, thank you for the lecture. I have a few questions.
Do you know Lithuanian? Does he know Lithuanian? Lithuanian or Russian? Lithuanian. So you can translate now with the questions from him. Just pick one question to start.
What about if a leader have a position to control and to regulate the society, the movement? How he should do it correctly, and how others, like devotees, should appreciate the controlling mood of the person, not to neglect him.
Oh, very good question. Can you translate for me?
Kaip tas, kuris turi valdymo poziciją, turi teisingai valdyti ir kaip kiti turi jį žiūrėti, kaip jį turi neneigti, o priimti jo valdymą.
So this is a very deep and complex subject. You have to translate for him.
Tai yra labai gilus, sudėtingas klausimas.
So I have a master's in school administration.
Aš turiu magistro laipsnį mokyklo administravime.
I have a PhD in educational leadership.
Doktorantūrą edukacijos lyderiavime.
So that was many years of study.
Tai buvo daug metų studijų.
How to be a good leader.
Kaip būti geru lyderiu.
How to be a proper controller.
Kaip būti teisingu kontroliuotoju.
That is not something to answer in 1 or 2 minutes.
Tai ne keletų minučių atsakymus,
But certainly with humility,
bet be abejo su nuolankumu.
to try to make other people feel that they are smart and competent.
Nuteikti kitus žmonės, kad jie yra sumanus ir kompetentingi.
To empower others.
Juos įkvėpti, įgalinti.
You're actually serving others.
Jūs iš tikrųjų tarnaujat kitiems.
Like a parent is serving their children,
Kaip tėvai tarnauja savo vaikams,
but they are also directing them.
bet jie taip pat juos ir veda.
Like that.
Kaip taip,
With love,
su meile,
with humility.
su nuolankumu.
Just because I'm in a position of leadership,
Nes aš esu lyderio pozicijoje.
that doesn't mean I'm a better person.
Tai nereiškia, kad aš geresnis žmogus.
It doesn't mean I'm more advanced.
Tai nereiškia, kad aš labiau pažengęs.
Maybe the people I am serving are much more advanced.
Galbūt tie, kuriem tarnauju, yra dar labiau pažengę.
I was teaching devotee children,
Aš mokinau atsidavusių vaikus
and I'm thinking these children may be much better devotees than I
ir
am.
aš maniau, šie vaikai turbūt daug geresnį atsidavę nei aš.
They say a good leader,
Sakoma, kad geras lyderis,
when things are going well,
kada reikalai vystosi palankiai,
they look out the window,
jie žiūri per langą,
and when they're going badly,
o kai sekasi blogai,
they look in the mirror.
jie žiūri į veidrodį.
In other words, when things are going well,
Kitaip tariant, jeigu reikalai klostosi,
they give credit to others.
jie visiems kitiems atiduoda nuopelnus.
When things go badly,
Kai blogai sekasi,
they take personal responsibility.
jie imasi asmeninės atsakomybės.
And they should try to understand what other people are feeling.
Ir jie turi stengti suprasti, ką kiti jaučia.
I was speaking to one ISKCON leader just a little while ago,
Truputį atgal aš kalbėjausi su vienu ISKCON lyderiu,
who said that they really were grateful they got to work in the different departments of the temple.
Jie sakė, kad jam labai pasisekė, nes galėjo dirbti su skirtingais šventyklos departamentais.
It's a very big and complicated temple.
Tai labai didelė, sudėtinga šventykla.
So that way they could actually understand what was going on.
Ir tokiu būdu jie galėjo suprasti, kas kur vyksta.
So Krishna does this, Lord Ramachandra does this.
Krishna taip daro, Ramachandra viešpas taip
They
elgiasi.
go as a spy in their own kingdom.
Jie eina kaip šnipai į savo pačių karalystės.
So we were also taught like that in the university.
Mes taip pat buvom taip mokinti universitete.
They call it management by walking around.
Jie vadina tai vadovavimu pasivaikščiojant aplink.
And I was the vice principal in a big government school,
Aš buvau atsakinga direktorė didelėje valstybinėje mokykloje,
450 children.
450 mokinių.
And I did my best to visit every classroom every day.
Ir aš tikrai stengiausi aplankyti kiekvieną klasę, kiekvieną dieną.
Some days it was not possible to go in every class,
Kartais buvo neįmanoma, buvo tokių dienų.
but that was my goal.
Bet tai buvo mano tikslas.
Just 2-3 minutes in each class.
Po keletą minučių kiekvienai klasėje.
And I'm taking some notes.
Ir aš darydavau užrašus.
And that way you really get a sense what is going on.
Tokiu būdu jūs galite pajausti, kas iš tikrųjų vyksta.
So how should we see our authorities?
Tai kaip mes turėtume žvelgti į savo autoritetus?
They're jiva.
Jie yra sielos.
They're probably trying their best.
Jie tikriausiai stengiasi, daro ką geriausia.
They're taking a lot more responsibility than I have,
Jie turi daug daugiau atsakomybių nei aš.
and try to assist them instead of criticizing them.
Ir mes turėtume stengtis verčiau jiem pasitarnauti, negu kritikuoti.
Just like I said, I will pay for a banister on your stairs.
Kaip aš sakiau, kad aš užmokėsiu už turėklus jūsų laiptinį.
So please put a banister on your stairs.
Tai prašau, kad įkurkite turėklus laiptinį.
Please.
Prašau.
And if you don't have the money,
Jei neturit pinigų,
so devotees have been giving me donations,
atsidavę man daug paukojo,
I will send them to your temple,
aš galiu jums persiųsti.
and you can put up a banister.
Ir galite įkurti turėklus.
So please think how can I help the authorities?
Jūs stenkitės galvoti, kaip galite padėti autoritetam.
Can I clean the bathrooms?
Ar aš galėčiau vonę gal išvalyti?
Can I serve the prasad?
Ar pasitarnauti dalinant
Can
prasadą?
I cook the prasad?
Ar galėčiau gal gaminti prasadą?
Can I get along with the other devotees?
Ar aš galiu su kitais sutarti bendradarbiauti,
So my leader doesn't have to solve the conflicts.
kad lyderių netektų spręsti konfliktų.
Can I collect money for things?
Gal aš galėčiau surinkti pinigų fondą
Or give money for things?
ar paaukoti?
Can I fix things?
Gal galiu sutvarkyti, sutaisyti?
Can I try to be Krishna conscious myself
Ar galiu pats tapti Krišna sąmoningu,
so that I am a good influence?
kad galėčiau būti įtakingas?
And don't expect your authority to be God.
Ir nesistengit matyti autoritetų kaip Dievo.
So there's one temple I used to visit,
Buvo šventykla, kurią lankiau.
one of the most wonderful temples in the Hare Krishna.
Viena nuostabiausių šventyklų mūsų judėjime.
So many people were coming for the festivals and the morning program,
Daug žmonių rinkdavosi į festivalius, ryto programas.
and a wide demographic, you understand?
Ir plati teritorija ten buvo.
Do you know what is a demographic?
Yes.
Like the mix of people in an area.
Ir įvairovė žmonių buvo didelė.
All different kinds of people.
Visokiausi žmonės ten.
Young people, old people,
Pagal amžių įvairūs.
single people, married people,
Vieniši, vedę.
white Americans, black Americans,
Baltieji, juodieji,
Indians,
indai.
everybody.
Visi.
And so much Shastra,
Ir taip daug šventraščių ten buvo.
so many Shastra classes,
Daug klasių šventraščių.
wonderful kirtans.
Nuostabus kirtanai.
Then I came back some years later,
Bet po keletų metų grįžau ten.
the place is dead.
Visa mirusi vieta.
I was the only person in Mangalarti.
Aš viena mangalarė tik buvau.
When I was giving the class, there was just two people,
Kai duodavau klasę, buvo tik keli žmonės.
my host and the pujari.
Mano, ta, kuri mane pasikvietė ir pudžiaris.
I was there for a festival.
Aš buvau ten festivalyje,
Everyone was Indian.
visi buvo indai,
Maybe 3 people were not,
galbūt 3 ne indai,
including me.
įskaitant mane.
And they told me this was really just 2 Gujarati families.
Ir jie sakė, ten tik 2 Gudžaratų šeimos buvo.
No Shastra classes,
Jokių šventraščių klasių,
no kirtan.
nei kirtanų.
And I asked one of the devotees, I said, what happened?
Ir aš klausiau atsidavusio, kas vyko.
And they said, well, we had a wonderful temple president,
Sako, turėjom nuostabų šventyklos prezidentą.
but he wasn't good with money.
Bet jam nesisekė su pinigais.
The temple was in debt.
Šventykla buvo skolose.
So we threw him out.
Tai mes jį išmetėm.
And now we got a temple president who's a good accountant.
Ir mes dabar turim prezidentą, kuris geras buhalteris.
I said, why didn't you keep the old temple president
Aš sakau, kodėl jūs nepaliko to senojo
and hire an accountant?
ir nusamdėte kokį buhalterį?
I said, you know, you're thinking my leader has to be God.
Jūs galvojate, kad mūsų lyderis turi būti Dievas.
They have to be perfect in everything.
Jie turi būti viskame tobuli.
That is not fair.
Tai netiesa, neteisinga.
Okay, I think we need to stop, yes? Thank you very much. I am very serious about this banister.
Aš iš tikrųjų rimtai apie tos turėklus.
Įgavo jau.
On that crazy stairs.
Ir apie tos laiptus stačius.
I think you'll have to put the banister on the wall.
Aš manau, ant sienos reiktų tvirtinti turėklus.
But I was very frightened.
Man buvo baisu lipti.
And I don't know how I'm going to walk down the stairs.
Nežinau, kaip nusileisiu.
So, for any of the mistakes that I've made, I'll say my actual verse. This is actually the verse. Yad atrasta litam kinchid vidvamsa purayantu tat atrasos tavam kinchit tad gurur eva me nahi. Any mistakes I have made, you please correct me.
Už visas klaidas, kurias padariau, prašau atleisti.
Anything good I have said
Visą, ką gero pasakiau,
is just from Srila Prabhupada
tai tik iš Šrilos Prabhupados
and our
dėka
acharyas,
ir mūsų ačarių.
and certainly not from me.
Ir tikrai ne iš manęs.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Ja.